Oh, hey Reese, what's going on today? Hi, how you going? It is, of course, me, Reese T. O'Leary of perpelFLAME and Company. That's right, say it with me. PERPELFLAME. And you are joining me here for another episode of On Another Day of Tell Me About It Tuesday, where I like to honestly tell you about different topics that have caused me wonder and all sorts of, expansion of my mind. And I hope to inspire you to be able to do the same in your world. Now, these are very short episodes. I don't keep you here long. Why? Because people have very short attention spans, but also it's not up to me to be learning about this in your world. If you're interested in this, it is incumbent upon you to go and do more research where you possibly can. Sorry, I've got an itchy nose this morning. To do more research where you can. But before we get into today's video, I want to remind you and encourage you to like, share and subscribe this video. Don't forget to hit the little bell notification so that you get notified every time we drop a new video here on the YouTube channel. But as I said, you've only got me here for 10 minutes, so let's get into today's video. Now, telepathy. It's an interesting topic, and it's one that's still highly debated among the scientific community today. Speculated. I mean, it's not speculation to me, and not speculation to many others that have experienced and do experience telepathy on a regular daily basis. I myself conduct telepathic communications daily, regularly, all the time. It is something that is so, normal in my life. It's not funny, but I know to many others who may watch this or may not watch this or just out in the world, telepathy is something that's seen as very science fiction, very fictional and non-existent, honestly. But I can assure you it is very existent, and it is it's a topic that is very widely debated, let's just say. So let's go back in time a little bit with the history of telepathy and some of the interesting things that have come out of that. So telepathy was first known about, well, first of all, the word telepathy comes from the Greek words tele and pathos, which means distant touch, right? Good old Greeks. And the term was actually coined in the late 19th century, around the year 1882, by Frederick William Henry Myers. And it was, I can assure you, telepathy has been around since the age of dawn, the age of human beings, humanity, animals, plants. Telepathy is something that we all use, whether we realize this or not. There are many interesting people across our history that you may or may not have heard of. You should have heard of some of these people, surely. But Sigmund Freud, for example, was really famously known for discussing and talking about experiments with his daughter and telepathy, right? Another gentleman called Upton Sinclair wrote a book in 1930s about experiments with his wife to do with telepathy. And then, of course, if you haven't heard of Oscar Wilde, you should have heard of Oscar Wilde, but Oscar Wilde in 1884 is famous for a demonstration with telepathy. So telepathy is something that's been touched upon, and as I said earlier in this video, is still highly and widely debated in the scientific community, despite the fact if you go on the CIA website, you will find that telepathy is very real. It is something that is used in many parts of the world in many different ways, shapes and forms. My experiences with telepathy, I've had many in many different ways. For example, I can be on a call with someone, I can be on the telephone with someone and have a telepathic conversation with them while we're talking. We will say the same thing at the same time, or we will know what the other person is thinking. My assistant, Amola, we have telepathic happenings and instances all the time, which is really fun. And we have been practicing this, in fact, so it is very easy to do. Honestly, it's not something that, when you first set out to be telepathic or use the ability of telepathy, of course it's something you're like, well, what are the rules? How do I encompass this? What are the rules? How do I do this? It's a foreign concept, and that's totally understandable. But let me assure you, once you start to understand the boundaries or the terms of telepathy, so to speak, you very quickly learn, realize, and understand that it's not so difficult, right? And it's not so out there as you may think. It is something that is quite within your grasp when it comes to who you are as a human being and being alive here in this lifetime. And you use telepathy and you don't even realize this. You may realize it, actually. You may have moments where you're like, oh, that was a bit of a telepathic moment. Another story I want to share with you all, actually, is coming to mind with my partner. We've had many moments of telepathy. When I first met my partner, he actually spoke no English, right? And I didn't speak any Thai. So a lot of people that were in Thailand, so a lot of the Thai people, would actually look at us as a couple and go, but how do you communicate? How do you communicate? And we're like, we just know. We have telepathy between each other. And telepathy knows no language, right? We can communicate, and there is no... it's like there's an auto translator in my brain, or an auto receiver that just translates whatever's being spoken of. So one particular story I want to share with you is I wanted to go down to the beach this one day, and my partner doesn't swim. And I wasn't actually swimming on this day, but I was on the phone, as I always am. And I was on the phone to, I think, a client, and I'm walking along the beach, walking. And he was sitting on his bike, just chilling in the shade, just relaxing while I was doing my thing. And I think I'd walked about half a kilometre down the beach, walked back, and he was gone from his bike. And I'm like, oh, my phone's dead. I can't contact him. Where has he gone? There are thousands of people around. What are we going to do? What am I going to do? How do I find this dude? And obviously you're like, well, why don't you just wait at the bike? It was like 40 degrees. It was so hot. And I was so thirsty and parched. And I was like, I just want to drink. Help me. So I thought, and I had no money on me because I'd left all my money with him. I'd left all, my wallet, my coins, everything, right? I just had my phone, and I'm like, oh, friggin' hell, man. So I remember I saw over in the distance, and when I say over in the distance, probably about 200-300 meters away, there was a 7-Eleven, or as the Thai call it, a Sewen, right? And I look over and I go, I'm gonna go to 7-Eleven, I think I had maybe 1 or 2 coins with me, and I'm thinking maybe I will have enough to just buy like a small bottle of water or something, because I'm telling you, I was parched. I needed something. And I'm thinking to myself, oh, if he was just with me, then I could just get, some sugar as well, some water, blah, blah, blah. Like, this would just be the bee's knees of the situation if he was with me. Where is he? Whatever. I'll go to 7-Eleven. I'll come back. I'm sure he'll come back to the bike sooner or later, right? He's probably gone to the toilet or whatever. And I walk over to this 7-Eleven, and because it is at a popular beach tourist destination, it was full of tourists. Like, you could not see past a head inside that shop. And as I'm walking and I'm going, excuse me, walking through to the back where the fridges are, my partner's walking back. And he's walking back with not a small bottle of water, but the bottle of water I would have wanted to purchase, which was like a litre bottle of water, icy cold, by the way, and a bottle of Coke. And we just looked at each other, and I just went, oh, okay, you heard me. And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, oh, okay. And that is one of my favorite moments of telepathy ever, because he just knew. I knew, and he knew. And we've had many other moments like that since. So telepathy is very real. You can train your telepathy ability. You can hone it. You can, use it on a daily basis. And I promise you already do. So I hope that teaches you a little bit more about telepathy and inspires you to look more into it. That's another video from me today. I'll catch you in the next one. And don't forget to do research for yourself. These topics are really, really fascinating when you dive deeper in on them. Alrighty, Roo. Ciao. Catch us on the flip side.